did this because, well, I've added a lot to drink today. Oh, is this on? Whoops. Yeah. Island boy. Let's get after it right now. Drop it. Welcome to the Bear Facts on Guns, where host Derek Baer and his guests are locked and loaded to educate, inspire, and yes, answer your questions about firearms. Tonight, it's just a prop gun. Whose fault is it? Ready, aim, Derek.
Welcome back to the show, everyone. Thank you so much for joining in. How was your week, man?
Week
Obviously,
was good.
It was pretty good because you're
good week. Kiki, good evening, madam. Welcome in. As if you don't hear enough of this guy. Thanks for tuning in. You're our number one fan.
Yeah,
Chris, how are you, buddy?
Hey, Christopher.
You want us to share a link? You got time to come in, or you're making dinner tonight, Chris?
Yeah, we can. It's a good bring in too. Yeah, Chris, if you want to jump on the show, let us know. We'll send you over the link right now.
I'll just post it out there in the comments. How's that?
Oh, it's even better. Then we're gonna get some randos on here. This
Yeah,
is good today.
let's have a little.
At
Let's have a little
the end
fun.
of the day, we're just trying to get some conversation out there. Too.
That's it. Just I would follow that. Tammy, hello. Glad to have you.
Oh, hi, Mom. How's it going? Welcome into the show.
Always good.
Which is great. Thank you so much for joining in. There's a StreamYard app if you want to. Hey, Mom and Roger, if you want to join in, you're more than welcome to, obviously, too. And this week's episode is about some crazy stuff that happened, right?
Crazy.
In Hollywood. And you brought it up on Bridges Simulation last week, and I chimed right in because it had just happened right away. And I'm like, God, this is... And, Phil was asking me questions about it right away, like, all that kind of stuff. So I'm gonna start real quick here. For those of you who don't know,
Chris, if you copy that link that's in the comments, just copy it. You're going to have to pop off of Facebook. Just follow the instructions. We'll get you right in, buddy.
Yep. So the number one question is that I've gotten so far on it. Whose fault is this?
And of course, we're talking about the horrible incident.
Yep.
Quote unquote accident.
Yep.
On the set of Rust,
correct,
down in New Mexico, where Alec Baldwin,
yes,
of course, mega superstar, was in a scene, pulled the trigger of a quote unquote prop gun, and killed the associate producer,
and wounded another person,
another one,
with one.
Yes.
So, number one, I'm just going to say this right now: Alec's fault, 100%.
Yeah,
Mr. Baldwin's fault. Live rounds. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. And my mom's saying on here too.
Why is it Alec's fault?
Think about all the stuff we talk about on the show, right? Around safety, right? Anytime you're handed a firearm in any way, shape, or form, when I handed you this grenade, okay, you didn't know what to do with it, okay.
Don't make me pull out my orange, my orange pistol.
Here, catch really quick after I pull the pin.
Right.
There's ways you can tell these are disarmed or not. When I grabbed this, even in the store, I made sure that there was no core inside this, and I made sure there was no firing pin in there as well. There's easy ways you can do that. If you don't know how to do that, don't effing touch it.
Okay. So I'm going to ask you a question.
Yeah, shoot away.
Have you ever had an Egg McMuffin?
Yeah, absolutely.
Did you ever go back and see how it was made, and that nobody rubbed their penis on it?
Yeah, I mean, wow.
Now you might think,
wow,
you might think that that's funny, right?
No, I don't, because here's the problem. I have a problem with that in general, because I have no idea where stuff's made.
Right.
And I don't know if it's healthy or not. I'm just reading a label that says it's healthy.
Okay.
So I don't know. Okay.
So,
correct. Yes.
So you have a mega superstar. I mean, he's got the match game.
For sure.
He was on 30 Rock. He's been host 7 times of Saturday Night Live.
Perfect.
He's doing a movie. He's got people who build his meals a certain way.
Yep.
He just sits down and goes.
Yep.
He has been on several sets over the years.
Oh, look at that.
And so cool. He's been on several sets over the years, and truly, right? It's like, hey, you handed me this gun.
Yep.
I assume that everything is okay.
Yep.
And you're saying it's his fault.
Yep. Chris, welcome to the show, bud. So glad to have you on. I can't wait to have you on in person one day here, but good to have you on there too. You don't got to worry about the video. The audio is just fine. So it's good to have you on video too, but don't worry about lighting and stuff. You're all good.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on this, Chris? Where are you at with this?
What was the question?
So he did jump
Herpes.
off Facebook. Yeah. Herpes. So, Chris, did you hear about Mr. Baldwin in the gun incident where he discharged a live round and killed an executive producer and wounded another person?
Yep, I heard about it.
Awesome. What are your thoughts on it? My thought is, I'm just going to speak real quick just because I want to get you tied into here. So my thought is 100% Mr. Baldwin's fault. And I keep messing up his name, so I'm not going to say his first name. Alec. It's Alec's fault, number one, in my opinion. Kent is the argument out there right now that it's potentially not, because if you get an Egg McMuffin sandwich, do you know who made it? And do you just eat it, or do you go and dissect it before you eat it to make sure it's safe? Is what we're at right now. So I'm just curious on your take on it.
Well, obviously he doesn't know gun safety. First off, okay. Anytime you have a weapon, you always open the chamber and you pull the magazine out and check it before you do anything else.
We don't know if he does or not.
Well, but that's what I'm saying. He obviously he doesn't know gun safety at all. So that's the first mistake right there. Perfect. Second mistake is, yes, I think it was his fault because he didn't actually see that there was a live round in the chamber.
So let's stop right there.
Yep.
I'm not a gun owner. I don't own guns. I don't know what a live round looks like and what a not live round looks like. So why is that my fault?
Okay, so I'm going to throw in a caveat to this. You ready for this?
Yeah.
So we're talking about safety, and if you're not in here, and there's some deep things that are going to come out of this real quick.
Sure.
And we can go with the tin cap theory for a couple things, because there is some tin cap theories out there as well about why this happened. Okay.
Sure.
The safety people that are in charge of keeping weapons safe left the scene hours before he shot her. Do you know why they left the scene? Because people were not following the rules and regulations that they put in place to make sure this doesn't happen. Ken just shot an arrow. I don't know what this thing is. It's Coley caught me off guard. Kent's in a weird mood today.
I'm surprised I made it to
impressive. Your arc on that was really good. So at the end of the day, so we have the safety people that
they left, but I don't know. All I'm doing is studying my lines.
But why did they leave?
I don't know that they did.
Okay, so we talk about the Swiss cheese model, right?
Yeah.
The Swiss cheese model states that it's multiple problems that happen over at the end of the day. The fact of the matter is, he just created manslaughter. Yes. He didn't murder somebody. Murder is intent. Mm-hmm. That's the difference between manslaughter and murder.
Right.
He manslaughter. And by the way, the other people that were in control of handing that firearm to him and verbally telling him that it was cold gun, meaning unloaded, is involuntary manslaughter. That needs to be charged also, because you touched that weapon, thus creating a Swiss cheese model that went to Adak and he killed it. And here's the best part. Do you know that he's an anti-gunner?
Right.
Well, of course he is. He's a liberal. That's why.
Chris, I love you, dude.
But okay, so now if he's an anti-gunner, it's safe to say he probably doesn't own a gun, nor does he know what a live round looks like.
So you probably shouldn't be acting with guns then.
No, I think he knows. The guy is old enough. He's been in enough movies and handled enough guns, weapons that he should know exactly what and I mean, a live round is a bullet. Okay, it's a cartridge.
Yes.
All right. When you pull the slide back on a pistol.
This particular revolver is. Let's go back to what a prop gun is. Right? Everybody's like, oh, how do you know it's a prop gun? Prop guns, and this comes from somebody who's done thousands of movies. I listened to an interview of a professional who's done hundreds of thousands of scenes. Guns. A prop gun is just a gun that is on the set.
Correct.
It can be a real gun.
Yep.
It can be a plastic gun.
Yep.
It can be CGI.
Yep.
Right. It's a prop in a movie. That means that it's just being used in the movie. This particular gun was a real gun.
Yep.
From the era.
Sure.
Right. Because we're going back into the 1800s is what
it's probably a revolver is where we would have.
Yeah.
Right.
Probably a six-shooter that, everybody would know what that is.
Right. Ruger Wranglers, baby.
And
it's awesome.
The shot is this, and I don't know if you guys know this. Mm-hmm. So the scene is this: he's in a church, and it is what it is, and it's a low budget film. It really doesn't make a difference to me. I don't care, right? A low budget film in Hollywood is what, $6 billion? Who knows, right? Yeah. It doesn't matter to me. And he stands up and he points at the camera and he fires a shot. Mm-hmm. That's what he's supposed to do, so that you get the feel of, oh my gosh, he's shooting at us or whatever. Yep. And that's where he was shooting, so it wasn't like I'm shooting at the bad guy.
Sure.
It's that I stand up and I pointed at the camera and I push the trigger.
Yep.
But the interesting thing is,
I just want to throw in real quick. I just got to interrupt you. I just want to verify that literally Kent just said push the trigger. He didn't say pull the trigger.
Yeah, I heard that too.
He said push the trigger. You're listening, bro.
I'm learning.
You learned it. Okay.
I'm learning.
I'm just proud of you. That's Tom. Good job, buddy.
And so I can't tell you. And maybe I could. You're right, Chris. And maybe I could, if I've been in hundreds of thousands of scenes and gunfights and whatnot, what's real and what's not.
Sure.
I can't tell you right now what is a dry round, what is a fake, what is a blank, and what is a real round. I couldn't, right?
Well, that's the question is, first of all, why was there a live round in the chamber if he was going to be pointing it at the camera? It wasn't a blank.
Let's take that avenue.
Let's seek to understand with that though, right? Because they found, so the investigation, the warrant that they got, they found 600 live rounds. It's a movie set, guys. Yeah. They use real bullets because they need real dust to kick up. They don't need to put little bombs everywhere in the area to act like it's working. They just use a real gun and shoot in an area.
So the gentleman of the interview that I listened to, I should have wrote his name down. He says, listen, I have fired people for having live ammunition on set.
Correct.
Okay. So what was happening in this particular situation during breaks, they were taking this era gun out and they were shooting it at cans or at targets out in the desert.
That's so disgusting.
So there was live rounds. Now, the particular individual that I was listening to said, listen, absolutely no live rounds anywhere within 10 miles of the set.
Yeah. Why would you want
to fire somebody?
Perfect.
He goes, I have fired high level, stars because they put live rounds in their belt to make it look real.
Yep.
No live rounds anywhere within 10 miles.
So this guy obviously cares about safety, and that's it. And Chris, I do want to get to you about you personally and your gun culture and where you come from with that. So we're going to jump into that. And I don't want to live in this world with Alec, but I want people to understand the fact of the matter is there's a woman that's dead that shouldn't be. Mm-hmm. There's also somebody else that's been injured. There's a lot of safety conversations when it comes down to it. And just for the record, how often does this happen?
Bruce and Jet Li.
Okay. How many movies have been produced in between those incidences?
There's been a lot.
Okay. So again, and I want to throw this out here because here's what I'm worried about. He's going to come back from this because first off, it's involuntary manslaughter. He should serve jail time. If he does not serve jail time, you are opening a can of fucking worms for everyone.
He won't.
Because here's the problem.
Rich white guy.
I could shoot you with intent. The only thing the court needs to prove is that it's intentional. Then it becomes, well, he got away with it. What's different for me? It was an accident. I didn't know.
Yeah.
Somebody else handed me the gun and shot it. I don't know who that person's name was. It was one of the workers. You are opening a can of a very...
We don't need to know either that the lady who died was the wife of an attorney for the Clintons. That's a whole different story.
There's the tin can. There's the tin can. You
Yeah.
conspiracy theory motherfucker. And I did dive into that. And there's some legitimate some shit in there too as well. It's pretty good.
But never mind. You didn't hear that on 21.
No, you didn't hear that at all. That was just a theory, a conspiracy theory.
Right.
Right.
But here's and I'm not defending him.
I know you're not.
Right?
You're just creating an argument.
What I'm saying is, I don't know the whole. We don't know the whole story.
Oh, for sure.
Right. And the fact that we don't know the whole story, but the bottom line is this: this is a major name in Hollywood.
Mm-hmm.
He's had troubles in the past, right?
So was Dick Cheney
with drunkenness and whatnot.
That was just one little incident.
That was just a hunting incident.
My bad.
Accidental discharge of a
right.
Sorry.
So I can tell you, I feel very, very strongly he'll walk. There will be no charges on him. However,
I'm sure.
However, on the armorist, right, the person who is in charge, and then the effects or the prop person, because there's two different people involved there. There might be some issues there.
So you're going to blame the person that handed the gun rather than the person who shot the gun. And I'm gonna throw it. And that's the question I'm asking you. But I'm gonna ask you another way. If I give you the keys to my car right now and tell you to go drive it down the street, and you get pulled over, and there's a kilo of Colombian Bam Bam in that car that I didn't tell you about,
right?
Who's going to jail?
You.
No, I'm not.
You're
driving the car. You're operating the vehicle. It's your possession. It's not your car. Watch an episode.
I'm a Hollywood insider, though.
Okay, Chris, watch an episode of Cops, and every dime that's not mine. That's not mine.
That's not mine. I don't know where that came from.
We can't. That's apples to oranges.
It's not though. You're still spending
It absolutely
jail.
Is because
I mean somebody's dead. Let's be real. It
absolutely is because I am a multi-millionaire, high-level Hollywood insider, and I'm just acting.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
You and I are goofy sumbitches on 21/6 the net talking about guns. And I'd be excited as shit to drive a Tesla anyway. Right. So and I wouldn't give up without a chase. So they would think that there was something wrong.
Dr. Dre.
Yeah.
Explain that. Brand new Lamborghini,
Yep.
Countach, white, car chase, gets arrested, goes to jail.
It's because he's black.
Wow. Okay. So we're going to bring that up and we're going to talk about that tomorrow because that sounds great on Business of Attention. And for those of you who don't know, and Phil doesn't know, if you're watching, so Phil, welcome. I'm joining you at 9 o'clock in the morning and a special guest with that too.
That's right.
So just stay tuned for that. All right. We're going to pause this for a second because I really do. I'm so happy Chris is on the show. I work with him all the time. He's a great dude. And Chris, tell us who you are. You're more than welcome to disclose your business name, obviously. Give yourself a good shout out here. And then tell me about your gun possession, your gun enthusiasm. Where do you stand? All that kind of stuff.
All right. I'm Chris Gibson. I own American Home Inspections and been doing that for a few years now. But anyways, my father was a World War II vet. He was actually a tail gunner on a B-17 flying over Germany during World War II.
So cool.
So when he was always a big gun guy. So when I was a kid, my dad had probably 15 guns, I would say, at least. And I learned how to fire a gun when I was probably, 6 or 8 years old.
Nice.
And, I've always liked guns. I like shooting them. We used to go out to my uncle's farm and near Quad Cities and do a bunch of hunting all the time.
Out there by the Mississippi.
Yeah.
Mississippi.
So I mean, I've always been around firearms.
Those are shotguns and whatnot. You're not taking assault rifles out there, are you?
Define assault
rifle.
No,
at that time
for me.
Yeah. Define assault rifle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, you're not taking the M16s, the AR-15s, the things of that nature. You were going out there with 20-06 and right,
30-06
and 12 gauge.
Yeah, shotguns. Yeah. We would go to shooting ranges, and my dad had 30-06s. He had 308 Winchester rifles. He had
20-06.
You did say it's okay. It's just funny. 30-06, by the way, it hurts.
That'll put that'll take down a deer.
It's got a nice sound to it, though. Boom.
Yeah.
Oh, it sounds so
cool. But back then, the AR rifle, which is an Armalite rifle, not assault rifle.
Correct.
Thank you, Chris.
Is that really wasn't around at that time when I was a kid.
But
at least not that I knew of, and my dad never owned one. So
if it was, you would have been shooting it, though.
Oh yeah,
absolutely. Yeah.
So that's basically my
weren't out there
background in a nutshell.
Do you have Chris? Do you have kids?
Yes.
Do your kids shoot?
Yes.
Awesome. Just random
male,
question.
Female, both.
My son actually was a Marine, so he did a lot of shooting.
Thank him for his service,
and he's a big gun guy now. So
nice.
And my daughter, I've shot with her before, and she actually got her Ford card, and now she wants to go get a pistol for self-defense. So
it's pouring outside. Sorry.
Oh, is it right? Yeah, I can't hear it. I got my headphones on.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, like asking Kent to hear these noises. He's got his headphones. He's listening to me and Chris. So for being a gun enthusiast for a long time, thank you both for not only your grandfather's service and your son's service. We are free because of those two, especially a bomber with a tail. That's got to be.
So there's some good news in the state of Illinois. You were telling me.
Yeah. There is some good news. So for those of you that know, Illinois has a wonderful tax on ammunition and tax on guns itself. And I need to pull my facts up on this real quick, so I do apologize. I'm going to take a second.
Yeah, so there was something passed. And,
yes. Well, okay, here we go. So Illinois Supreme Court tosses out Cook County tax on guns and ammunition, effective immediately. This has been going on for 6 years.
6 years.
Yeah.
So my question, Chris, how much ammunition you bought in 6 years? You don't have to disclose that. A lot. Can I get my 5 cents back per bullet, please?
Yeah, really.
Right.
Where's that going?
Right.
But it's a legitimate question. And I don't understand how government, I really need to know, because it is a big part of what I want to figure out in my life, but how the budgetary works for those numbers and where that actually goes. And if you can follow the money successfully on a public record or not, or what you have to do to get that. I want to know where all that money went for all the ammunition that was bought last year alone, at the 5 cents a round. And where did it go? What is it doing? And what are we going to do about it now? Right. Cause they're going to go fight this too. They're going to go fight this on and try to get it back and bring, everything back. The problem is we just spent 6 years paying something we shouldn't have paid for. And they've wasted it for 6 years to get as much revenue out of it as they can. And they did. They got a lot of it. So, Mary Jane, I'm going to mess up her last name, Theus, wrote a 6.0 decision on taxable violations of the constitutional uniformity clause, and it's a direct violation of the Second Amendment right. So they just stuck to the Second Amendment on it, which was great. My next thing, and Uncle Pete's going to agree with me on this too, is why do we have FOID card? Why do we have a concealed carry card? We should just be right to carry. That's it. Plain simple. When are we getting there? Because we're moving there, which is strange for our state. We just removed a tax that was approved. Kent's got a funky look on his face.
Well, the Second Amendment reads that you have the
right to bear arms,
a well-armed militia or
correct.
Something, right? If Tom was here, he'd quote it verbatim.
Oh yes, he would. He's so good.
A well-regulated militia.
Yep.
Being necessary to secure the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms should not be infringed.
There you go.
So, Elise, how are you? Thanks.
Hi sis, what's up?
For joining.
Yes. Happy National First Responders Day.
There it is.
I think that's correct. At least
quick
you're
shout
laugh
out to
at
my
me.
brother Kirk. It's his birthday today.
Oh, nice, cool.
And of course, Mike's birthday was Monday.
What's going on right
Krejci.
now? Oh, I know it was. Yeah. Oh, my boy. Yep.
All right. So you have the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed.
Yep.
So let's talk about infringed.
Yep.
Where's the infringement?
You're putting regulations on things that aren't stipulated inside of a signed contract by a constitution.
But help me with what's being infringed.
So your taxation infringed. Go ahead, Chris. I'll let you talk about it first, and I'll jump into my side.
All right. Well, the right of owning a firearm should not be infringed. Okay. And anything that they do to change that is an infringement on our right. So
a Boston Tea Party?
It's like putting a regulation on free speech. That can't be infringed upon either. So, why would that be acceptable if the Constitution says that our right to bear arms should not be infringed upon?
So it's a blanket statement, and it's pretty clear. But there's no taxation conversation in that because there was no tax on it back then. Hence, there should be no tax.
But that's not infringing me to have them.
It is. It's impeding the ability for people that can't afford with that extra tax on there to be able to have a well-regulated militia because it's expensive. Bullets are expensive to begin with. Add a tax on it, it's even more expensive.
So this when does this take effect? Did it take effect
immediately? Every gun store in the state of Illinois dropped it. Or in Cook County.
So how low did the prices go, or did the prices stay the same?
Well, the prices have been dropping over the past year as it is right now. To answer your question, it dropped 5 cents per bullet and $25 per gun.
Okay. And let's just use your concealed carry.
Perfect.
And that cost how much?
My firearm itself?
Yeah.
Like $550, came with a laser and a
$550.
Yep.
And now that it's $25 less, $525, I go, woohoo! I can now afford it.
Yep.
I doubt it.
Okay. So if you do that times 1 million people, it becomes a much bigger number.
No, it's the same. That gun is the same cost.
So my concealed carry gun is a very specific gun, though. So maybe you have somebody who has like a Ruger Wrangler, like we have, which is our inexpensive single shot 6-shooter. That's a 22 long range bullet that is $150 at the gun store, at the gun range or whatever. So you're talking about $25 on that $125 gun also is the same as, so we're not talking about my concealed carry. Luckily I've been blessed to have the means to be able to afford things like that. But at the same time, for the people that can't afford it and live in areas that they really do need to, that extra $25 versus $150 is $175. So how does that sound?
But that gun is the same price, right? Just because your gun dropped $25 doesn't mean now I can afford it.
But why would the tax be there originally anyway? Because I'm already getting sales tax put on that gun anyway. So why am I getting double taxed for something because
people allowed that to happen?
Exactly. So they
but
voted
it didn't infringe my right to have it. I could still buy it.
But
it did not infringe any of my rights.
It does, but it doesn't, because at the same time you are literally putting monetary, because that $25 can be $25 this year. What if it's $100?
It still didn't impede my right to buy it,
because it makes it less affordable. And you start thinking about it differently.
Didn't impede my right to buy it.
I mean,
it doesn't.
It does.
I could save money, right?
You can.
So I appreciate what you're trying to say, but it still gives me the right to buy a gun. I just have to save longer. Would that be correct? It does not impede my right to have it. It does not infringe my right to own a gun. It just means that the government is making more money off the gun that I'm buying.
Correct. But when you have that extra $25, that's somebody's food for one day that possibly can. No. You're looking at different. You'd be surprised. Look at some of the areas that are literally, they can't even afford anything. So how are those people getting protected? And yes, you're right. You should be able to manage money. But where does it stop, Kent? What if it's $1,000 per gun?
hey, it still doesn't infringe my right to buy it.
It does, because what price do you need it to be at to where it infringes your ability to purchase that firearm because of a government taxation?
There is no price. If I truly want to buy a firearm, I'll find a way to buy a firearm.
I don't want to buy a firearm. It is my right,
correct,
to buy a firearm.
And so if I can afford that, then I will go get it.
Yeah. So people in the comments, right. I want you to throw out your view on this as well, because obviously Kent and I are.
Thanks for coming in, sister.
Yeah. Oh, Bon, love you too. Why are you saying love you, my grandma, man?
Because she's awesome. She's one of our great listeners.
She's
I love
amazing.
Can I just interject?
Yes, Chris, please. Go ahead, buddy.
What if they made, instead of 5 cents, what if they made it $10 or $20 per round? Then that definitely infringes on my right, because if you price it to a point where people won't buy it, that's infringing on their right to buy it.
Well, I think $500 is too much for a gun. That infringes on my right. So why is there a cost on a gun, Chris? Why does it cost money?
Well, why does it cost $50,000?
That's infringement on my right. I should be able to come to your store. You should be able to hand me a gun because that's my constitutional right. I should not have to pay a dime for it because my constitutional right says I should bear arms.
Oh, Annette, what's up? How are you? Fantastic.
Right? I don't mean to be a dick, but hey, guns should be free then.
So who makes the gun?
I don't care who makes it.
But
it's my right to have one.
It is.
I should be able to walk into your store and say, I would like a gun. You should give it to me.
But that's where you're right. You can go buy $125 gun, or you can go buy a $5,000 gun.
That's I don't want to pay for it, but I have the right to have
one. That's business. We're a capitalist country.
So now, because it's business and capitalist, it's okay. But because it's a tax, it's not.
100%. So then here's
wrong.
That's not right.
Both sides of your mouth, brother.
You can't
yes,
do that.
You are.
No, I'm not. Because at the end of the day, if you think about it, I think we lost Chris, or he just hang up.
He might have. Like, I gotta get out.
So at the end of the day, you have a company that's building a gun. So Smith & Wesson or Ruger or Glocks or anything other company, they have employees that work there. And those employees have to have health insurance and benefits and overhead costs and everything else, plus cost of materials. These guys aren't price gouging guns. By the way, there's laws for price gouging guns. Right. There's no law for how much taxation they can add to something out of nowhere as long as it's voted in. So to answer your question, you are infringing it because we're voting in something that shouldn't even be voted in, even be talked about. The right to bear arms gives you the right to bear arms. It doesn't say that we give you one for free.
So the definition of infringe is act so as to limit or undermine something, encroach on. His legal rights were being infringed.
Mm-hmm.
I still have the legal right to buy it no matter what the cost is. Is that correct?
You have the legal right to buy it, of course.
But if I can't afford it, now you're infringing on my right.
You're infringing on a right that's a business that has to make it. I'm just saying. I get where you're coming from.
You're talking. That's why
it's not talking.
Yes,
it
is.
It's not. God, I can't wait till Tom's back here. He's so much more well versed with that kind of stuff than me.
Right, but that's why I'm saying.
Yeah, I get it.
Hey, what's 25? Hey, now people. Hey, God bless you. You got rid of $25 a gun. You go out now. Everybody's buying guns. No, that's wrong.
So it's the principle. It's not the monetary.
If I have the right to bear an arm, it doesn't say anywhere in the Second Amendment a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of people to keep and bear arms as long as they can afford it. It just says the right to keep and bear arms.
So here's the thing.
I shouldn't have to pay for a gun because it's my right. It's a freedom.
Here's the best part. You can go build your own gun.
I could.
You can make your own gun.
Right on a 3D
So then there
printer,
you go.
And you can.
Okay, but there you go. So, which is bad. Don't do that.
I'm just saying.
I've watched the videos on Facebook. It's really scary right now what people are doing. Please don't buy a 3D printed gun yet at all. It's to answer your question, you have the right to bear arms. You also have the right to make your own arms.
Absolutely.
So that's where you can get around it. You can make your own bullets. I've watched guys cast bullets from nothing.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And I know a lot of people who've got them in their basement and load their buckshot, the whole works, right?
Beautiful.
Yeah.
So to answer your question, you're saying the other side. So if you can go make your own gun, then you don't have to go buy it. You just buy the raw materials. You make it yourself.
You could.
But
you got to go buy the raw materials.
Okay, but the raw materials is fine. Okay, great. But the raw materials.
Now, if I'm not that creative, I just want to walk in.
Do you have a driver's license?
Because of the Second Amendment, I want you to give me a gun. I have the right to bear it.
Do you have a driver's license?
I do.
Did you get a car for free from the government?
I have.
Oh my God.
Never mind.
Yes.
No. I bought.
So do you have the right to drive? Right.
I do have.
Doesn't say that.
No, I don't have the right to drive.
You do, by Illinois.
I legally have passed the test so that I can drive.
But you have the right because of the legally.
It's not a constitutional right to drive.
100% true. But you have the right to means of transportation, walking, driving.
Still whatever. Not a constitutional right.
100%. So what if they tax you every single time you say 216 to net on the radio?
I stopped saying that.
So freedom of speech, right?
I
freedom of speech, but we're getting to this place.
Freedom of speech, yeah.
So it's freedom of speech. What if they add a tax? Well, I want you to say this word, but you have to pay 5 cents every time you say it because it's a marketing word and it makes you money. So we want to tax that money that you're making.
And I have to weigh that out, don't I?
So do you think that's an infringement on your right to freedom of speech? You wouldn't fight that. You just pay it, or you wouldn't talk about it, which is basically saying the same thing.
Well, I'd of course talk about it, but it's the same.
And you have to pay it every time.
If I do, I do.
216 to that, 5 cents.
If that's the way the state is, then I would maybe move it out of the state.
You can't. It's a constitution. Right. It's America, baby.
No, it's not. This was a Cook County tax.
I understand that, but it's the Cook County is the only place that's charging this tax.
Right.
So in Illinois, everyone else in the entire state.
I would move out of Cook County so that I could say the words.
So I have to move out of Cook County because of a tax.
Yeah.
Boston Tea Party, I'm pretty sure in that too.
Tammy says freedom of speech unless you infringe on another person's rights by being malicious. Right.
There you go.
Right.
All right. So we're going to stand off that topic for right now. We're
but that's good. And Tom, when you're ready to come, when next time you're in, let's talk about this because sure. I think it's a good thing. It doesn't say that, I have the right to keep and bear arms as long as I can afford it.
Sure.
It's that my constitutional right is to have one. It doesn't say I have to buy one.
Of course.
Right. So,
and Tom's so good at versing this because he knows the back ends of what it is.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
Right.
And he'll tell you exactly why it is that way, which is great. And that's why we love him because he's the expert at
it.
Right. So the Cook County agreed that the harmful effects of guns and ammunition costs to the county is immeasurable. And they said that in 2017, the county's hospital system treated over 1,100 patients with gunshot wounds, spending $30,000 to $50,000 on each patient. So this is what they tax the other side of it, saying that we should keep this tax because there's an immense amount of money that's being spent on care for gunshot wounds on there as well. So how about we focus that money on gun education would be my first topic of conversation on there. And a spokesperson for Cook County President Tony Peckerwinkle, I don't know how to say that.
Preckwinkle
said, I just wanted to say Pecker. I thought about it all day today too. I was like, I'm just going to mess up and say Peckerwinkle.
Thanks, Jessica. Appreciate you tuning in.
This is good, guys. Thanks, Jess. They are disappointed in the ruling and will work to determine the next steps. So the next steps, here's my fear with this, right? So they're going to take next steps and they're going to get it approved. Again, the tax is going to come back and it's going to be another 6 years of paying this tax again. And then it's going to be, stopped again. So at what point do we just say, I'm done paying this? And by the way, if you don't pay these taxes, the 5 cents or the 25 cents, it's $1,000 fine. So you get hit with $1,000 fine. So massive fine on there as well, which is not good. We continue to maintain the cost of bullets to reflect even a little bit the cost of violence that is ultimately not possible without that bullet. It's not the bullet's fault. It's not the gun's fault, in my opinion. It is the person shooting the gun, which is what our topic of conversation was stemmed from, is whose fault is this for the prop gun?
Right.
My vote, 100%. I want to hear your comments out there, please. I want to know whose fault you think it is number one, in your opinion. I want to see if there's anybody divided with that and why.
The fault is whoever loaded the gun.
No, it's not, though.
Absolutely.
How
on that movie set, yes.
But you're taking possession of a firearm. You are responsible to check it.
That's because you're a responsible firearm owner.
Doesn't matter, though. But you have safety people. I am a
rich multimillionaire who, listen, I'm like Ron Burgundy. Whatever's on the teleprompter, that's what I'm talking. You put the gun in my hand.
Yep.
I pointed at the camera. Yep. I pulled the trigger. Yep. It's just supposed to have a flag that come out that says bang.
Yep.
I didn't put the bullet in there.
Yep.
Right. And I understand what you're saying, but I want you to understand this man is walking, and unless it comes back, the FBI it trails back to this lady was having his baby or something like that.
Yep.
Absolutely 100% the person who loaded the gun is the one who's going to be held accountable.
What if somebody who loaded a gun was told by somebody else that they were supposed to load it?
No, listen, I run down all the rabbit holes. Hey, they'll never believe me. They'll never expect it's me because I'm Alec Baldwin, and they know that I'm an anti-gunner. I hate that bitch. Pop, done.
Yep.
Whoops, Jerry got in the way, and I glazed his arm. He's fine, though.
Yep.
Right? Or it was a through and through. Whoops, that was a weird thing. I've run through all the scenarios. When you're talking with Hollywood, it's not America. Nothing is right in Hollywood.
So is that okay, though? Is that
it's
acceptable?
Not okay.
Okay.
But the bottom line is not his fault. It's whoever loaded that gun and whoever brought that gun out.
Gun enthusiast or not, if you take possession of something. So let me ask you another question. So if you take somebody else's car, what did you say?
Yeah, it is the fault of the armory and the person handing the gun to Baldwin. It's a paid job.
So, Mom, I would like to, and I don't disagree that there's a lot of people at fault here, right? There's a lot that came down. The buck stops with Alec. That's it.
With who? Alec?
See, I'm going to mess this up the whole show. It's the C.
And Alec, we appreciate you tuning in tonight.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, if you would like to comment on there,
let us know your thoughts. No. Kiki says both sides are at fault. If they are going to use real guns on set, training should be provided.
But it has been.
Handling.
The training has been handed. He's done thousands of shoots. He's done thousands of shooting scenes. He's handled multiple weapons. And at the same time, you guys got to realize that these guys aren't just like walking around and literally just walking. They have safety OSHA standard people standing on set. They walked off set because it was unsafe. They were doing things that weren't right. And that's it. Why did my wife? I know she's going to die.
Right now, Jessica, let me know if you want your own show here on 21.6. I absolutely love you. I agree with the Hollywood statement. Different world. He'll walk. I agree. And then she says, please say Alec.
Kiki said the same thing too. I know I can picture my wife sitting at home right now and the laugh that she'd be doing with this because I can't say the C thing.
I'm sorry for laughing.
It's so bad.
Yeah, of course. What's happened when you have 4 or 5 vodkas?
Yeah, Kent had a couple.
There's Chris back.
Chris is back again. Welcome back, buddy.
We'll bring him back in. Hey, Chris, welcome back.
Yeah, too funny.
So
I lost the connection somehow. I don't know how, but
it's a bad storm out there.
It is actually a pretty bad storm.
I am too, Kiki. It's amazing.
Yeah, our power went out. That's why I'm in the dark here.
You're fine. You're good. Nobody. All the three people.
I was just going to say we're disguising your face and voice.
Yeah,
exactly. I was going to ask him for his phone number. I probably shouldn't do that now.
Once we've said Chris Gibson and his business.
Yes, and his business. Not a good idea.
Yeah. So let me ask you this: what? And I don't know if you know this. I don't. That's why I'm asking. And Chris, you may as well. With Bruce Lee, he died the same way, right? Or Jet? What?
I don't.
His
think
son
I know
did,
Bruce Lee's story.
right?
Bruce Lee died from cancer or something.
Okay, so it was his son.
His son died
from a prop gun that had a live round in it as well. What happened in that case? Did anybody go to jail in that?
Let me type it in.
That's all I'm asking.
Yeah, we'll have to look into this as well.
Because now we have precedent.
Here's the thing. Hollywood, regardless of any status, you take another person's life, it's the definition of manslaughter. It's killing somebody without the intent to kill them.
So let's take this down a little different
rabbit hole?
Different water slide, perhaps.
Okay, cool. Right.
Cardi B.
I don't think I know
Cardi B spent some time.
Kiki's gonna die right now.
Kind of the same thing, but Cardi B spent time in the house for the kind of the same type of thing, right?
What happened with her? I haven't heard about that.
I don't know about Cardi B either.
I'll bring it up here. So, Tammy, thank you. These are people that are paid to perform the safety and security of the sets and props. The actors must trust the handlers. With today's effects, there's no reason for lie. Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, they
walked off the set.
He could have just held his hand up, and they could have CGI'd a gun in there.
Mom, right? They walked off the set 2 hours beforehand. The guy that handed him was probably not qualified to hand him the firearm. If you have your safety people for the people that stop this from happening, walk off set, the movie stops. You stop all props. You stop all firearms because there's going to be an adverse reaction that happens, adverse event that happens, which is exactly this as well. So go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, I mean, it's you know, my take on it is that Alec Baldwin, you know, he trusted whoever said that, it was a cold gun, which means, no live rounds in it.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I don't know, as a firearm owner, if somebody hands you a firearm, the first thing I do is open the chamber, make sure there's nothing in there, pop the magazine out of it, make sure there's nothing in the magazine. So I know that the gun is not live. It's not going to hurt somebody if it goes off accidentally. And even though these people who handle these props all the time, as for an actor who's been doing this for years and years, should know, hell, it's a 6-shooter. All you got to do is pop open the revolver part of it and take a look. I mean, it's not hard. It takes about
hard
2
for
seconds.
somebody who's familiar with it.
And that's it's not hard for people who, and Ken's take on it is, it's not hard for people who understand it. Me and you obviously do that. But the first time I handed Kent a magazine and had him load in a magazine, this dude was in shock about how difficult it was. Number
so
one,
hard.
And he tried to put it backwards right away too. So I could literally hand. It was a funny green room. I could hand him this grenade right now, and the first time I did, he goes, "Is that a real grenade?"
Right.
I mean, technically, it is a real grenade. The firing pins out of it, the cores out of it. So there's parts of it that make it not working. But if I were to be handed something, if you hand me an RPG right now, I couldn't tell if it was live or not.
Yeah.
Personally.
Well, that's true. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, so what would you do in that situation?
What would I do?
What would if somebody handed you an RPG right now? I don't know if you've handled one or not, Chris.
No, I've never handled one.
Okay. Right. If someone handed you an RPG, what would you do? Say, hey, can you hold on to this RPG really quick? It's not loaded.
Yeah.
Well, in that situation, yeah. I mean, I would not know if the round that is hanging off the end of it is live or not.
There you go.
But so I would know. I would know not to point it at anybody.
I wouldn't fucking touch it at all. Personally, that's cool. Just me. There's a point.
To me, it would be like, wow, this is awesome.
Yeah. So, if I go to tell you right now, and go ahead, you can talk about Art. Art says, I'm not going to say his name anymore.
So guns don't kill people. Art says Alec Baldwin kills people. And then Tammy follows up. These are not firearm owners, and they don't do their own stunts. There are contracts involved. We've come a long way from Gunsmoke and Bonanza. So did they have accidental kills?
But at the same time, if you don't have the knowledge, I'm going to revert right back to this, what I just said. If you give me an RPG, I'm not going to take it because I am not qualified and I don't have somebody here to teach me that I trust to do that. Because at the end of the day, so hang on a second. What if he killed the president by accident? What happens? Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, my bad. We're not
easy now.
We're not a political reason.
I'm kidding. And Mr. President, we love you. Thank you. You're doing a great job.
Oh, yeah.
I see your fingers crossed over there. Are you okay?
Yeah.
Those fingers. All right. So, but here's what I want. Here's what I want the two of you to do, Chris and
this
Bear.
Sounds freaky already.
Is I.
Oh, Kiki.
How many years? Hashtag let's go, Brandon. How many years since you were a boy you've been around firearms?
Correct.
Alec hasn't. So
he's been around it all his life, and
he's been fighting against it for so long. Maybe you should learn about what he's fighting against. Just saying, he's an anti-gunner. He's actually part of a No AR. NOAR is a new a celebrity-inspired anti-gunners. Sure. Why the F are you using? I'm going to get pissed in a minute because why are you using firearms in your movies if you're so anti-gun?
It's not a firearm. It's a prop.
It's not a prop. It's a firearm. It killed somebody.
Bang. It's a
doesn't matter.
Right.
Why is it in there? Why don't you just act
it's
like
not a prop?
Existed? It's a cap gun.
It should have been a cap gun.
If it's on a movie set, it's prop. Everything on a movie set is a prop.
Beautiful. And I love that terminology because that does clean up some stuff.
It's a prop, but it's still a firearm.
Yes, but I don't know. I don't know anything about it. Hey, man, here's what we need to do. What kind of makeup does he wear? Is he familiar with all the makeup that they put on him?
Well, makeup doesn't kill you. Guns
It could.
Yeah.
It certainly can.
I'm gonna disagree with that because there might be cancerous.
It certainly
shit in there,
can.
too.
So the bottom line is, oh wait, oh my God, this is human skin you're putting on. You understand what I'm saying? I have to trust those people around me.
Yeah.
Now,
Well,
again,
true. And that's what I was.
Again, we don't know the whole story. You guys are coming from. Listen, every time I pick up a firearm,
100%.
right? The best way to hand a firearm is to set it down, right? It's not here you go, buddy, right?
Yep.
So you guys know that. I've learned a lot from this show in knowing that too. But put me in his position.
Sure.
Pew pew.
But it's not just his position though, right? So there's more people involved. So you have literally a team of people that are your safety advocates to make sure stuff like this doesn't happen. And it's already happened in the movies already. Where prop guns have already.
You just said your own case.
No, I didn't.
Yes, listen. I have to trust that the armory, the prop person, the special effects person, they did their job.
Correct.
And when it falls into my hands, you've all done your jobs. Pew pew.
No.
Yep.
Because once it hits your hands, you have to do your due diligence to make sure that it's safe. And if you have been around safety people, your safety people should say the first thing that when you get handed a firearm, a prop gun, or anything that's going to kill somebody, you need to make sure it's loaded in the intent that is what is made be.
So and Jessica, she says, how ironic. If it was a prop, it wouldn't have killed somebody. No. You're taking high school props.
Exactly.
A prop is anything used.
That's a prop.
Anything used on a movie set is a prop. A car, you can drive it, still a prop. They can have real guns as real firearms as props. They can have cap guns as props. If it's the whole thing, and that's where I want people. That's why I have on the mustache over there. It was a prop gun. Yes, everything on a set is a prop. Even you can have a Heinz ketchup bottle full of real ketchup. It's still a prop. Right. So we have to understand that the prop became a weapon when the responsible party loaded a live round and lied and said cold gun. Absolutely correct.
And I'm trying to dig into research on Bruce. Brandon Lee is the gentleman's name. I'm trying to find out if
anybody was
what
I don't know either.
I don't know either.
Right.
But that famous actor's son got shot, and and
if the glove doesn't fit.
The glove doesn't fit.
Right.
You're
going to walk.
Drive a white Bronco.
Correct. You understand what I'm saying?
Well, we're talking about two different sides. The point of the matter is, now here's where I'm going to get to this. So he needs to be charged, and then charged with manslaughter immediately, and involuntary manslaughter for anybody else involved.
Sure, and he can be found not guilty.
Thank you.
Yes.
That is the problem. Here's where my issue comes. He can't get off scot-free and act like nothing happened. He killed somebody, and he has to be stood in front of a judge of peers. He's not God. He's a paid actor that did not follow protocol and had an adverse reaction on set. That's it. It's like a crane operator dropping a big whatever because somebody didn't tighten the bolt that's at the end of it. Mm-hmm. It's your responsibility as a crane operator to make sure that thing is safe. It's your responsibility as a truck driver to make sure your load is secure. You just like the word load. He's like a child over there. That's awesome. So case in point. So you're driving down the road and a giant tree lumber falls and kills you driving.
Yeah.
Okay. We got final destination hit. Yeah. Truck driver says, well, the yard guy tightened my straps on my truck.
Yeah.
Who's at fault?
Yard guy.
Truck driver.
Your insurance company's probably going to pick it up.
Truck driver's going to jail. Involuntary manslaughter. No. You don't think he's going to jail?
No.
It happens all the time.
No.
You're in control of what it is.
Is it his constitutional right to have logs on it?
That's awesome. It's so good. And Mom's saying this too. It won't be as well.
Right. I you know what, Tammy? I absolutely love you. Listen. Did you
just tell my mom that you love her?
I do.
That's hey, Roger's
your grandmother, your mother. I love your whole family.
Wow, this is getting weird.
It is.
Roger's a big dude, by the way.
It just doesn't. Yeah, we've had him on. Yeah. It just doesn't matter because it's Hollywood, man. I'm telling you, I get what you're saying.
I know you do.
And I've run every scenario through my head.
I get it.
I've run every scenario, and even if it was him who put the bullet in there, it was like, well, they'll never suspect me.
Yep.
Pew pew. Right.
Well, they'll never convict him of anything, I'm sure.
Right.
But he needs to go through the proper channels. And if that's the case, he needs to be arrested. He needs to be charged with manslaughter at minimum, and you can reduce that to whatever for being a Hollywood star and a member of the community and a gun advocate of anti-gunning, and you're in California, so you're probably going to be whatever. The whole point is it needs to follow the judicial system that was set up.
Right.
Money does not equal freedom. It shouldn't. I know it happens.
I now love Kiki.
What is she? Oh, no.
She says, listen, I've only been around firearms for a few years. I would never take a gun from someone as a prop, quote unquote, and not do a safety check. Absolutely agree. I agree he won't get in trouble, though. Ignorance is bliss.
Yeah.
Well, his defense, though, will be that, hey, the prop master gave me this gun and said it was cold. So
correct.
That's his defense. And
I don't own a gun, so how do I know? I have to trust them.
Right. But I mean,
if he gets away with that, it's going to open up a whole fucking can of worms for the rest of America.
Nah.
Yeah, but the prop master should be charged then. If Alec Baldwin isn't going to be charged, somebody
there should be several charges in the case.
Oh, for sure. They can't drop this. People need to be held responsible. He needs to be held responsible just as much as all the rest of them. He pushed the trigger. Like I said, pull.
No, he pulled the trigger.
I think that's a pull, isn't it?
It's a push.
It's a pull.
It's a push.
Yeah, you pull the trigger.
You push it.
Oh boy.
Push the trigger.
We get
it's not like pushing a button.
It is. It is like pushing a button.
It is actually. It is. Yeah. From Tom from Conceal Carry. He from On Target. It's push. Is his training on there as well. Oh, nice try. Try to set me up. I'm gonna go for it. Kiki's gonna be rolling all the way home. It's not at fault. He had a contract to do, an actor to fire the gun. There's no fault for him. Yep. I am honestly shocked right now. I really am. Number one, and here's the thing. My mom's not a gun person. She was around firearms probably more than me, obviously, when it comes down to, grandpa and all that kind of stuff. But I know Roger's a big gun enthusiast, and my mom has accepted, and she has firearms in her house because of Roger. There's never been firearms in the house until Roger showed up, or until I brought firearms as home as well, which she knew and sometimes didn't know about. Full disclosure.
That ain't no Playboy under the mattress.
Exactly. Nope. That's a nightstick shooter. At the same time, I'm very surprised that she's taking this. I'm curious to see what Roger has to say about it, honestly.
So,
go ahead.
So here's the question. Which take was it? Was it the first take? Was it the 10th take?
Does it matter?
It does.
Why?
Because if I, for the first 9 times, did the same move and pulled that trigger and nothing happened,
sure,
and we go to lunch, whatever the case is, there's a break or whatever, and you come back and you hand that to me again, I'm
expecting it's going to be empty.
That's why I'm saying, how is it the first take? Now, if it's the first take, maybe you're right. Maybe I should go, let me just check this.
Sure. Pew, and there's a big difference between blanks and real bullets. I mean, for those of you that don't know, there is. You have a giant brass or whatever end to it as well, on there as well. And we just burned like an hour, by the way.
Crazy. I thought it was 5 minutes in.
Me too. We're awesome. And Kent, we both love each other.
Right. Absolutely. No. So, and I kick this around, but I am telling you in my heart of hearts, because it's Hollywood, nothing.
It just shows me, if that's the case, and it's how it comes to be, again, it's just another notch on my belt for America's got some problems, more and more so. And let me tell you, there's things that we need to work on as a country in general, as people. We need to get back to the literally good, decent people that are around here, and stop focusing on this over this. And Roger's on. Now you get my opinion. Roger's on. Great. Awesome. Roger, who's at fault? That's my question. And I'm going to, Mr. Baldwin.
How at fault are they?
Yes. Right. I just want to know who is at fault for that, Roger. Is it the prop master that handed him the gun, or is it Mr. Baldwin himself that fired the firearm? Who's at fault on there? So that's all I want from you, and then we'll go from there.
You tell him, hey, that's all you can say.
It'd be funny if it became a big fight in my mom and Roger's house about this. This would be pretty good.
So I mean, the bottom line is this, right? And because I'm not. And because I'm not a a gun owner.
Sure.
Right. But I can say that when I was a kid, we'd run back into the, into the woods, and we'd have BB gun wars and whatnot. And I knew I was shooting BBs. Yep. Right. But if I shot you and it hit your artery just right and it killed you, I knew I was shooting. I knew I was shooting right.
I knew it.
So it's a legal issue.
This is from my mom, by the way.
The moral issue will never be prosecuted.
Great, Roger.
And Roger says, you must assume all guns are loaded. Baldwin is at fault.
Great. It's so weird to me.
Yep.
And even my grandmother says agreed, which is, I don't know who you agree with, Grandma.
Me, because Bon Loves me.
Man. You know what, Bon? You got a special sauce you can make for him, and if he dies from it, nobody's at fault.
As long as
she does make really good chili.
Put that shit on a hot dog.
They make amazing sauerkraut festival in my hometown. Ooh, great.
Up.
So it's so funny. I just need to stop for a second, because what I'm realizing here is the gun people understand it. The non-gun people don't get it. That's the question.
I would disagree with you.
But that's what I'm saying. You're a non-gun owner.
I would say that the gun owners don't get it.
Oh, nice.
That's all. Right? Because
I get
because you guys understand. I'm a rich celebrity. This is the 10th take. First 9, blank, blank, blank.
All right, this conversation's awesome. Guys, if you have any questions.
This is a good show.
I love you too, man. Yeah, great show. Email me, Derek at Baer Facts on Guns. If you guys want to chime in more or join the show and have this conversation, we can kind of go through that as well. Thank you, all the listeners.
Roger.
As well. P.S. He won't be charged.
Boom.
I'm not saying he's not going to be charged. He should be charged. That's it. You're trying to end it with that. I'm not going to let you have that. This is Ken, you're so bad. This is not going to end this way.
That's it. Special shout out to Chris Gibson. Thanks for being our guest tonight, brother. Appreciate you having on. The storm kind of knocked you out a little bit. And we love you all. Come back tomorrow morning. Big day tomorrow. Mary Catherine's Power, our playlist, followed up by The Grounds, followed up by Bridging Civil Tension, where we're going to be talking about, a little bit of mixed relationships.
There you go.
Thanks for tuning in, folks. Have a blessed evening. And remember, he walks.